Not to be dramatic, but
Your social life has been living at half capacity up until this point.
that is, you haven't exactly fulfilled the potential of how many people you can truly know and interact with on a daily basis. And I'm guessing that's because, oh, I don't know, you're just really bad at remembering names. Yeah, that doesn't count. Watch this video and you'll see exactly how you can never forget another name again. So when you meet the next Mahima, Tatum, Savannah, Natalie, Jana, you're not gonna forget their name or their face. And instead, your support system will expand because you took it upon yourself to make somebody feel remembered. So if you want to find out how to never forget another name again, keep watching. Nothing is worse than when you meet somebody, you have this great conversation with them, you're really into it, and you're like, dang, I really like this guy. And then about, I don't know, minute and a half later, you look at their face and you realize, I have no idea what his name is. Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back to Haleigh Speaks. I'm Haleigh.
Like Halle Berry.
And you'll never forget that again after watching this video. Before I start giving you these research-backed psychological tips that I've learned throughout my cognitive science classes, my social psychology classes, and my major at Georgia Tech, I want you to know that this is a skill that you will never be harmed by having. As in, think about going through college. Every day almost, you meet a new person in your classes. You meet a new person in your dorm room, your apartment. You meet a new person in your workplace, the lab you're volunteering in, whatever. Think about when you move on to the workforce. You got coworkers every day. You have clients you have to get to know. You will have these skills for the rest of your life. If you watch this video and you really pay attention to just how you can take it upon yourself to make these skills a part of your everyday routine and expand your social life and your connections. You know what they say, it's all about knowing people. It's all about building those networks. And how can you do that if you don't freaking remember anybody's name? So, I'm about to give you 4 special tips on exactly how you will never forget another important person or unimportant person's name again. Now, personally, I've always prided myself on being somebody who honestly remembers almost everybody she meets. It's something I enjoy doing, and it really brings me pride to see someone's face light up and I'm like, hey Jarvis, hey Jenny, how you doing John? Those kinds of things not only make people's days, but they also make you seem more friendly, more approachable, more of an important person to them because you took the time to remember who they are. But again, I'm only human and not superhuman, so of course there are times when I forget. However, the difference between me and someone who says,
I'm just terrible at remembering names,
is that when I forget a name, I make that effort to relearn it, and this is called the spacing effect. Okay, let me clarify, the spacing effect isn't this. The spacing effect refers to a phenomenon in memory and in cognitive science in which learning is greater when it is spread out over a spaced amount of time rather than learned in one interval. Now the key to the spacing effect is every time you learn the information, you learn it, you don't recall it or whatever, and then you forget it. So then you space it out. And then the next time, you've kind of forgotten that information, so you have to relearn it, right? But the second time you relearn it, that is a real strengthening for your neural network. And then you don't forget it nearly half as bad. So then the next time, more and even bigger interval time passes and you relearn that information again. And then over time, you won't have to ever relearn it again. You will not forget that bit of information again. And this applies to any kind of thing, especially to cramming before tests, but that's a whole different video. But primarily, I love to think of the spacing effect in terms of names, right? Because I mean, who doesn't forget a name the first time you hear it? It happens all the time, no matter how good memory you have. So say your friend introduces you to Curtis, okay? You meet Curtis and you're like, hey, what's up, blah, blah, blah. You introduce yourself, you guys have a little bit of a conversation, and you realize 60 seconds later that you do not remember their name, right? But the key thing to do in this moment is not just be like, oh, frick, I forgot their name. I'm terrible at forgetting names. No. You have to actually stop yourself and relearn their name. In a couple seconds, I'm about to tell you those really sneaky, good ways of finding out their name again without explicitly being like,
I forgot your name. What's it again?
but for now, just remember that you relearn their name and you're like, Curtis. Now, relearning that has enforced that neural network in your brain of seeing their face, learning their name, etc., etc. And that spacing effect kicks in. And so when you forget it, if you relearn it after you forget it, that is so good for your memory of that person's name. As long as you relearn it, you will not forget it after that first or second time you ask. But how do you relearn their name if you've already forgotten it, you might ask? Well, here are some really sneaky, really good tricks to kind of get them to tell you their name again without explicitly exposing yourself for having forgotten it already. One way is to ask them, how do you spell your name again? Oh, you mean like my first name? Yeah, I mean just like your whole name would work. Oh, well, it's Sarah with an H at the end, and then my last name is Johnson. Oh, like Johnson. Weird example there, I know, but you've just secretly gotten them to tell you that their name is Sarah, and that's all that you really care about in this moment. Another quick way. So wait, what's your full name then? If they seem confused, you can just make up some crap like, I just thought I might have seen you on my suggested on Facebook before. Now that might only work if you are in the same workplace, you go to the same school, because that happens to me in my college all the time. I've like heard their name before, but I didn't know that this Savannah was the one with the last name Avery or whatever. But yeah, if you forgot her name was Savannah, you can be like, wait, what was your full name again? And they're like, Savannah Avery. And you're like, oh, right, Avery. That's what I was trying to remember. Then, so do people ever mispronounce your name? I know that seems weird, but I mean, they mispronounce my name all the time. I'm always like I always get Haleigh. One time in freshman year of high school, I got Haleigh. And they might be like, I mean, no, Sarah's a pretty normal name. Or yeah, I get Mahima instead of Mahima. Or, oh yeah, are you kidding me? I get Valencio instead of Valencio all the time. Or whatever. I'm trying to think of a celebrity that has your name. Can you think of one? Now this one works really well for me because I introduce myself to everybody every single day, like I'm Haleigh, like Halle Berry. And that is partly because I really value being remembered, remembering others. This is obviously why I'm so interested in this video, but people do not forget that name. If they forget my face, like if they forget how to spell my name, whatever, I don't even care if they know how to spell it. I just don't want them to call me Haleigh. And I know it looks like Haleigh, so I always say like Halle Berry. And then they'll remember, oh, it's Halle Berry. It's not Haleigh or Haleigh or Holly or whatever. It's
Halle Berry.
And then they see me and they're like, yo, Halle Berry! And I'm like, hey! So it works really well for me because they know that I'm thinking, oh, celebrities and names. My name sounds like a celebrity name. I'm trying to think of a celebrity that has your name. They might be like, oh, Sarah Paulson. Or, oh, John Wick. That's, okay, yeah, sure, we'll go with John Wick. Brad Pitt, something like that. You're like, okay, Brad, okay, John, okay, Sarah, I got you guys locked up in here. Well, Brad Pitt, and then you're like, oh, his name is Brad. Well, Sarah Paulson. You're like, oh, her name is Sarah. You can also ask somebody else who you trust. If you met them through a mutual friend, you could always ask your friend, like, what was her name again? That's sometimes okay. Or, if you just started out a workplace, you had one friend that you made, you remember their name, but you don't remember that new manager. You don't even remember the manager's name. So you're like, hey, what's the manager's name again? And then, sometimes you can even like, if you're sitting next to them in class, peek over at their paper and be like, oh, Jeffrey, huh? Becca, huh? Cool. And that way, you're snooping, but you're still learning about them. It's for a good cause. Really, there's anything that you can do to relearn their name. And if worst comes to worst, just ask them. Because this is what I do. Usually I'm not ashamed. I'm pretty good at remembering names most of the time to where I feel comfortable asking them for their name again. Because I know that I'm asking them again, not just because I'm lazy and I forgot it or whatever. I'm asking them again because I intend to remember it. So I'm like, okay, I feel so bad about this, but I promise, if you tell me your name one more time, I won't forget it again. They tell me their name, and I really make it a commitment to not forget their name again. Now, once you've relearned that name the second time, follow these 3 steps to never forget that name again. Number 1, repetition, repetition, repetition. Try and say their name as much as possible during your interaction. So you meet them and you're like, hi, it's so nice to meet you. I'm Haleigh.
You're like, Halle Berry.
It's so nice to meet you. I'm Natalie. So now it's up to you to be over here like, it's so nice to meet you, Natalie. Natalie, I love that outfit. She makes a joke. Natalie's got the right idea. I'm over here with Natalie. Natalie, I love your shoes. Where did you get those? Say it as much as possible. Research actually shows that saying a person's name at least 2 to 3 times during the first 60 seconds of the interaction is the best level of repetition for learning somebody's name and not forgetting it. One thing that I love to do is when I'm walking down the streets on campus, if I see somebody kind of maybe far away, maybe approaching my direction that I recognize and I know I've met them before, I really focus on their face and I try to think to myself,
Conjure up the name. What is their name? Just think of it.
and I look at their face and I just really focus on that. And sometimes it comes to me very clearly or quickly, like Nathan, Kendall, Matthias, Arshad. But other times it'll be like Greg, Craig, Gary, and you don't really remember. But whatever you do, always practice remembering and recalling that name when you see that face, and repeat to yourself that name when you see their face so that your brain gets practice and muscle memory on saying that name and thinking that name when you see that face. The second tip, connect the name to things that you don't know. So find a who, what, when, where, why for that name or for that person. Now you don't always have to do all of them, but within that first interaction, it really helps to create an elaborate network of associations for that person, for that face, for that name. And that way, the next time you see them, the next time you talk to them, whatever, one association will bring up another association. The face will bring up the name, will bring up the reason, will bring up the who, the what, the why, etc. So you can ask questions about them and about their name to mentally connect the name and the information to those more elaborate details about the person. So if you meet a kid named Luke, right, and he's just got this big red fro, right? Not the most common example, but it happens, I promise. You meet this kid Luke, and the first time you're talking to him, you're like, so why'd your parents name you Luke? For like the biblical source? You might want to ask that. I don't know if you're sensitive. Or you could say, so Luke, where are you from? And then he says, oh, I'm from, Portland, Oregon. And you're like, oh, Luke from Portland. There's a where. You could say, so Luke, who do you know at this party? Or, so Luke, who was your counselor at this camp I met you at? Connected to a who. And these more associations that you create, you've tied that name and that person himself to all these details. And then you'll remember the association network better. And the last tip I'm gonna give you guys today is something called the face name mnemonic. The face name mnemonic device is a tried and true method of memory in social psychological research and in cognitive science. It's designed to never forget the name for a face. So to use this mnemonic, step 1, find something characteristic about the person. So let's take Cody Ko, for example. Now, it's not exactly his most defining characteristic anymore, but let's say a very characteristic feature of his is his bleach blonde hair, right? So now we've seen, okay, I found something characteristic about the person. Bleach blonde hair. This guy has bleach blonde hair. Step 2, transform the name itself into something meaningful, independent of whatever you decided in step 1. So for me, I hear the name Cody Ko, and I'm like, I had a dog named Cody, Cody K9. Those kind of sound the same. That's something meaningful. I transformed that name into something meaningful, right? So Cody Ko, Cody K9. Now step 3, link the defining characteristic to the meaningful mnemonic that you created in step 2. That is, think of how can I connect bleach blonde hair to Cody K9? Well, I could either create an image of me dyeing my old dog's hair platinum blonde, or I could say he had these bleach blonde patches here and here and here. Or I could say I took my dog Cody K9 to the salon with me to get my hair dyed bleach blonde. These are all many different elaborate mental images that many memory scientists would tell you, that's great. You should definitely use that, because that will help you create associations that are strong, that are elaborate, and that are meant to keep your social network growing and growing, because you don't forget those names from now on. So all in all, I've used social psychology and cognitive psychology research to give you guys 3 proven methods of remembering names. If you have any other tips that you use to remember names or to expand your social network in other ways, leave a comment below. And if you have any questions on other ways to improve your social life, please leave a comment below because I would love to make a video about that. Again, as I mentioned in my last video here, we are going to be doing a lot of videos like that on this channel about how to improve yourself as a human being. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful for you. And if it was, please subscribe to me and you'll see even more of things that you might like and hopefully entertain you. Also give this video a like and a comment and whatever else love you're feeling. And also if you're watching this to the end, comment your name below, because I would like to learn who you are. Alright, to all the Kendalls, Tatums, Manazes, Jennifers, Leslies, Michaelas in the world, those are all girls' names, but shout out to all my friends. Oh, and of course, hallelujah. To another beautiful day and another beautiful video that I've enjoyed making so much for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and hallelujah for you all. Have a great day.
The gypsy cried.